Now, Mark, some very unique things about this event. Now, the first thing, there's so much interaction with the fans on Double Down Day. Actually, they'll have kids, some fans who pull chips, and that'll determine who qualifies in what order.
That's a really cool thing. When you buy that package, you go to the pit party, you'll never know what driver's actually going to reach out, pick their kid, who's going to pick their number, and pick where they're going to qualify tonight and going down that track.
Now, the way it's going to set up, each driver takes a pass in each lane. Third time they come down, that's when we set the field for the racing bracket tomorrow night.
That's the one that counts. They've got to take it whether they want it or not, and that's the moneymaker, and it's going to get them in the top seeds. Wherever it's going to place them, it's going to set up the brackets.
And remember, with 24 trucks, there is an inherent advantage to making it into that top 8. The top 8 don't have to race in round 1, and you know there are so many potential mistakes, so many pitfalls here. If you could skip around, it's an inherent advantage. And we're going to see who's going to get that number 1 seed and that big Double Down trophy, and that'll be coming up once again here during the qualification. So it's all coming up right here as part of this big festival, Double Down, here at the World Finals.
I feel good about the track. I'm pulling some good times. I just got to say, stay collect, stay smooth, like I was talking about earlier. But I'm real happy with what I'm doing.
Charlie Pauken will have Monster Mud in the advanced auto parts lane. The Team Gravedigger driver qualifying first in the Monster Mud. Pretty solid shot, looking good. He is qualified. Give a nice hand to Charlie Pauken and Monster Mud.
Take a look at this replay, and right here, Charlie Pauken stayed in the throttle. You can see the dirt coming off the back of those tires. He turned a 1:6.66.
The Air Force Afterburner is at the Ford truck starting line. Air Force Afterburner, Bradshaw, smooth so far. Even a little bit of a squiggle, if you will, but I don't think that cost him much.
He turns a 17.13 at 65 miles an hour.
This is my last run. This is what counts. It's in the right lane. I did better in that lane, so hopefully I can pull off a good run and get up in the upper part of the bracket. It'll benefit me in the long run.
So Adam Anderson will go next to Taz. He's looking for green. Adam Anderson and Taz to the turn. Number 1 right now will be Taz at 16.56. So Adam Anderson, number 1. It's early, but unless everybody improves from their practice, this may be a run we're talking about later. 16.56 so far, the fastest here in qualifying. Destroyer in the Ford trucks lane. The Destroyer Ford in the Ford truck lane to qualify. Airman Dan Evans, nice turn, good job. And he comes across the Ford finish line with a nice run for Destroyer.
Look at as Dan makes this turn here, Scott. He was very tight in the turn, really looked nice and smooth, sawing at the steering wheel. And Dan turns a 17.72, a respectable time for Dan Evans.
Did pretty good, you know. Would have liked to been a little bit faster. Thought it was a faster plat pass. It was good and clean. We're happy with what we got.
Here goes Cam McQueen. Into the turn for Cam McQueen. Pastrana 199 will sail it across the Ford finish line. How about this? 1697.
Wow, you know, the two hardest landings I've seen so far tonight as we look at this replay here. Watch how the front end noses over for Cam McQueen. What's happening is the back end of the truck is kicking the front end over because he's backing out of the throttle just a millisecond before those back tires launch off of that ramp. And I'm seeing some very hard hits coming off this lane, but very fast times as well.
So you just got to kind of work with that, change your driving style. Watched a few guys go. I was fairly early in the qualifiers, so had a chance to see a couple guys go. But I went out there and came back in. It felt good, and Becky told me that I laid in a 16, which was awesome. I was pumped with that, so still sitting on the board right now. We got a lot of the pack to go, but I'm happy with it, man. It's a great start to the weekend.
In the Ford Trucks lane, Lupe Sosa. El Toro Loco qualifying in the Ford truck lane. Here comes Lupe Sosa.
Lupe Sosa turns a 17 seconds flat, so it is an improvement, Scott, on so far his runs tonight, but still not down in that 16-second range.
Good looking run for Lupe Sosa and El Toro Loco. Pablo Huffaker qualifying the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But he pulls her back down. Still, that'll cost him. Let him hear you make some noise for Pablo Huffaker and the Turtle. 16:56, the exact same time as Adam Anderson and Taz, but that will seat him below Taz because Taz put the number up first.
I had a phenomenal run that time. I bobbled twice, though. I bobbled out of the starting line. I kind of fell off into the other guy's ruts. When I got down to the far corner, I kind of threw it up on two wheels, had to bicycle it through the turn, but looks like right now I'm sitting number 2.
Next up, making her first official qualifying pass, Candace Jolly and the Monster Mutt Dalmatians. Candace Jolly from Naples, Florida, the Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Nice tight turn. Hammers the throttle. Nice job. Give a big hand to Candace Jolly and the Dalmatian.
Every single pass that she has made, Scott, has gotten better and better and better. And this pass right here is indicative of exactly what I'm talking about. She just turned a 1.735.
I drove pretty conservative. I run a 17 flat, which still is okay. And I've got some room to make it up, so I'm going to steam it pretty hard. I'll end up qualifying in the right lane, getting ready to jump that left lane and give it a whirl right now. But I will be qualifying in the right lane, and I think that's going to be to my advantage.
Qualifying for Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger. Right now, his son sits number 1, 16:56. Cammy Icon top him. Not a
He's
great
in trouble
turn for Anderson. Not a great turn at all. And I don't think Dennis is going to be happy with that, Mark.
No, absolutely not. The back end washed out. He tried to gather it up, and he actually did gather it up. I don't think that's a victory lap. I think he's a little upset with himself, but he's still going to put on a show. Scott, listen to that number.
This is stunning. Dennis Anderson's going to have to race in the first round, almost assuredly. He's not going to get in the top 8 with a 17.66. Mark, what happened?
He just washed out. He came into the turn very hot. He was precise about that. The back end of the truck, it washed out. He stayed on the throttle like he should, but what it did is it turned him the other direction. He was not able to gather it up, sawing at the steering wheel. Hence, as a result, 17.66 is what Dennis Anderson turned.
In the Ford Trucks lane, John Sesock looking for his 3rd straight world title. John loves this right lane. Let's see how he turns. Give a big hand to your world champion, John Sesock. That man.
Look at as John Cisak, he comes in hot into the turn. You watch the rear steering. Right now he's still on the button. He's releasing it. The self-center goes back to square. He's oversteered into the turn. It's causing him a correction problem. He gathered it up, hit that 25-foot ramp, threading the needle down to 18 foot, and he made it happen. But look at the numbers, Scott. A 17.65 for John Cisak.
Went in that qualifying. I was in the left lane. I think the right lane's faster tonight. Had an awesome pass down through the chicane in the left lane. The straightaway felt fast, faster than I did all weekend. I got a little overzealous going in the corner. Thought I could push it a little bit more than I should have. Washed out. I got a 17.57. Not a real fast time, but honestly, man, I'm feeling good.
My qualifying pass is actually going to come out of the right. So I want to make sure that my best run comes from the right. But so far, it's going great. Truck's running awesome. We keep it up, it'd be better yet.
Tom Meents and Maximum Destruction. Tom right on the game, Thunder Alley.
He's in trouble.
Got up on the berm just a little bit. Still hits the hammer on the throttle and comes on out. I don't think that's going to hurt him much at all. That's not big trouble.
Wow.
He's able to get her done.
Scott, you got the call. What kind of numbers did he turn?
Here's the thing. Remember, the big trophy, the #1 seat on the line, there it is. Tom is strong, but that's not the top of the list. 16.63 will only be third best. George Belhan in an Escalade. Brings it up to the Advance Auto Parts start line in the Ford truck lane. Escalade, George Belhan to the turn. Smooth, nice job on the turn.
That was a really solid run. He stayed strong all the way down through Thunder Alley. Never really lifted much out of the gate. It was very nice. He was in a tight turn. The rear steering straightens out precisely at the right time. He didn't have to overcorrect, and he made a great pass. However, it is amazing when you think you see the fastest pass so far of the night, it hasn't been. But George Belhan, he turns a 17.07 for his qualifying time.
You know, it went all right. I was about 2/10 slower than I wanted to go. I wanted to get in the 16s. I went 17.07. Sitting 7th right now. There's some good, strong trucks left to go. Probably going to be out of the top 8. I'm going to have to run that first round. But hey, it's just another round to get down the track tomorrow night. A win's a win tomorrow, so I'm going to just take it round by round, see what I can do.
It's a little more slippery than last night, that's for sure. But in the turns, I like it. I like it being a little mixed up. Last night it was sliding. But in the straightaways, you can't get on it as hard because it wants to pull out from under you. But we'll get it down in this right lane here on our next pass.
Randy Moore and the War Wizard. Struggling off Thunder Alley. And he's washed out again as well. First qualifying pass, a lot of jitters for a Vegas rookie, makes it kind of tough.
Very difficult to get around. Randy Moore being a rookie out here in Vegas, he was able to make the pass and not hit the wall.
So that does not change our top 8. Damon Bradshaw still currently sitting 8th. The Air Force Afterburner at 17.13 as Randy Moore's 18.15. Again, we'll put him well back in the field. Here comes Jim Kohler in the Avenger. Doesn't sound good, Mark.
Again, what we were talking about on his 2 previous runs, I noticed some smoke coming out of the back of the truck. He's really got that thing screaming, and that is not a good sign, seeing smoke coming out of Jimmy Kohler's truck. As he turns a 17.66 Kohler, the wisps of smoke have gone away. It was a nice turn, very smooth. He was staying on the throttle, so Jimmy Kohler, a respectable pass at a 17.66.
At a 17.66 in what I think is a crappy lane, 17.21 in the other lane. Not bad for me, I'm pretty happy. Still gonna tweak it and tune it a little bit tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a little more speed out of it and see what happens. As far as I'm concerned, it's the best I've ever done here in Vegas. so it's anybody's game.
Now Brutus will come out in our advanced auto parts lane. Chris Bergeron. Chris Bergeron and Brutus on the qualifying clock. Takes it to the turn. He stuck the turn. How about Brutus?
Chris Bergeron, he has been practicing here all weekend, and I know he's been practicing 100,000 times in his head. As he goes into this turn, look at this turn. Very, very fast for Chris Bergeron. Saw it at the steering wheel. The rear steering is working excellent. Scott, what kind of time did he turn?
17:25, so for the moment that's top 10, but not top 8, 17:13. Damon Bradshaw living on the bubble to try and get that first round bye.
It's crazy, man. Every lap it's changing. The right lane, the start line, your right side tires are chewing up the track, your left side spinning. The far end, every man, women, whatever, for themselves. The only thing that matters is the qualifying pass, and then tomorrow night in the final, who the winner is.
Here's Alex Blackwell, captain's curse. He was the second fastest qualifier last year. Can he do it again? Well, we got to check the time because it looked pretty solid.
As the night is going longer, this track seems to be getting tackier and tackier. Alex made a great turn right there. He grabbed the brakes very, very hard. It looks like that might have cost him a little bit of time. He turned to 17:28.
I feel really good. I feel comfortable, calm. My first pass was right on. The second pass was actually really good. I just hit a little patch down there and spun out, but everything's good.
Former world champion Medusa in the red and yellow advanced auto parts lane. The 2005 World Racing Champion, Medusa. Once again, Mark, I can't find a problem with the run. It's just if the equipment's up to, and if she gave it enough coming down the big long straightaway.
You know, I was watching Deuce as she was coming down here, coming down through the chicane. She was a little bit light on the throttle, Scott. I don't want to diss her on that. You know, she hasn't been in the truck. That is a very respectable time at a 17:37.
We continue on now. I'm going to start calling this guy Jekyll and Hyde. Jimmy Creedon and Bounty Hunter. We know he can nail it. Can he get it here and get near the top of the list in qualifying?
Wow, this is going to be a fast pass, Scott. I haven't seen anybody this fast down the straightaway all night.
Number one, 16:53, Jimmy Creedon.
How about that? We called that, didn't we? We thought that looked like a fast pass. You know, he backed out of it in the chicane, and by golly, he pulled it out.
You want to know how? You want to know what we did? We abandoned everything we thought was going to work, and we went with something we didn't think was going to work. We've been working all week to try for a certain setup. We got the setup. It didn't work. We went back to what we've been doing for year after year, to Old Faithful, and she pulled through for us. Good. It was a good pass.
All right, Frank Kreml coming up in Donkey Kong. It is Frank Kreml and Donkey Kong. Then King Crunch will be ready. Kreml looking for that sharp turn. Looked pretty good for Frankie.
It looked like a solid run, Scott. It definitely, in my opinion, just looking at it as it happened live here, it did not look as fast as anybody else's.
Wow, Frank Kreml goes to number one.
How about that?
Donkey Kong, 16:50, takes over the top spot. David Smith, King Crunch.
and Smith will come up and over. So David Smith and his run with King Crunch. Again, I am just stunned that it's that close. 17:65 is the time for King Crunch.
Track conditions are actually pretty optimum. That down in that corner, if you get it too hard, you're gonna end up on your lid. So you kind of got to play a little bit careful, but you can drive into it hard, which is nice, and drive it like you think it's gonna handle. Whether if it's slick, you can't control that, but out there you're in control. Got to be careful. It might tip if you get a little over brave and try and approach it too fast. But I think it's going to be all right.
Lindsey Wink has been very quick, very consistent. Let's see what he's got in qualifying. It's Blue Thunder coming up next. Lindsey Wink has been very quick, very consistent. Let's see what he's got in qualifying. He is up and over. Mark, that looked like an awfully strong pass from Lindsey Wink.
You know, I'm kind of hesitating to call. I'm going to tell you it was a strong pass. I'm not going to tell you it didn't look very fast because it was blazing fast. Lindsey Wink is definitely hot. It was a great turn right there, but check this out. It wasn't as fast as Frank Kreml. It was a 1:6.90 for Lindsey Wink in the Built Ford Tough Blue Thunder.
Superman will be next. Chad Fortune, another of the veterans, making his 7th appearance in the NGK Spark Plugs World Finals. You know, it's documented that Chad struggled here in early years. Remember, he got that monkey off his back by winning and racing it around last year. Now this is a pretty good looking qualifying ride. That big Superman Ford looked pretty good.
You know, he struggled a little bit here coming down through the chicane in the Advanced Auto Parts Thunder Rally. It sounded almost if he could have missed a gear, actually, when he shifted. It's only a 2-speed, but I think what happened is he just broke traction so hard that the thing spun out a little bit. He gathered it back up. He turned to 1740, Scott. So, you know.
That's Midland. That's going to be in the middle of the pack. Not going to be in the top 8.
But then this next pass in that left lane, it's for all the marbles, you know, so hopefully I can throw down another pass like I just did. We'll see what happens. So as long as I can keep it cool through that chicane, I think I'll be all right, and I think I'll be in the top 8. But if not, we're gonna be racing here tomorrow anyway, so it don't matter.
The Safe Auto Minimizer will try to knock Frank Kreml out of this Double Down Trophy and the number 1 seed, and Mark McDonald is flat capable of getting the job done. The Safe Auto Minimizer, Mark McDonald, who's been fast here before. Will he be fast enough tonight? Coming off, up and over. Well, he gave himself a shot. We won't know till they get the clocks and the times to us.
As I take a look at that in the initial run.
1694, good, but not good enough. And Frank Kreml and Donkey Kong is our fastest qualifier.
And for the Double Down fans, they loved it. Taz set the pace early, and he stayed there. Pablo had equaled him. Mentz took a run, couldn't get past him, stayed there for a while. Then all of a sudden, at the end, 2 of our, final 5 guys to come out were first Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter. He goes 16:53. Right after that, Frank Kreml, 16:50 in Donkey Kong, and he was one happy acceptor of the Double Down Trophy for being the fast qualifier.
Looked like we snuck in a number 1 qualifying spot. You know, the truck felt good all day, but I didn't think it was going to go that fast. We pulled off a good run. We just want to be consistent tomorrow, see if we can keep it going.
Let's take a look at how this sets up our bracket for the first round of racing. Now remember, the top 8 will seed in to round number 2. So right off the bat, when we get to the racing action, we're going to see Medusa take on Stone Crusher. Now, again, Steve Sims had the problem flipping over, crashing in qualifying. They're so spectacular. And those 2 will race for the right to beat number 1 seed Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Dennis Anderson, who had a bad qualifying run, has to race in the first round. He'll take on very tough Damon Bradshaw, who's been quick at different times here. And the winner gets Tom Mentz and Maximum Destruction.
I think that this part in the bracket is going to be absolutely amazing.
Adam Anderson has gotten into the top-seeded 8, and he is going to have to take on one of these 2 trucks, Dan Evans and Destroyer, or Captain's Curse, Alex Blackwell. Now remember, last year, Alex Blackwell was #2 qualifier here in Vegas.
Is this Jimmy Creton's year? Bounty Hunter will come from the bottom of the bracket. He's as fast as anybody.
Well, when I saw Jimmy Creton last night, he was struggling really bad, Scott. Tonight, in the 2 passes prior to his qualifying pass, the practice runs, he did not look good. When he came out, you just said, when he came out, this is like Jekyll and Hyde. You never know what he's going to throw at you. And sure enough, the dude laid down a pass that was blazing fast, incredible. Is it his night? Is it his weekend?
We're going to find out, but I like to use the term money because he is money at qualifying time. And again, not a knock on anybody, but Vegas rookies tend to struggle. Here's one thing to look at, though. One Vegas rookie is going to win their first race here. Candace Jolly and Randy Moore will race each other and then get reality checked when they go up against Bounty Hunter.
Very quick, but that's going to be a great race, and they're going to be fun to watch.
It may be one of the most exciting, fun, and balanced brackets we've ever seen. This is going to be wild and unpredictable.